You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
We had so much conversation over the past couple of weeks about Jayden Daniels and his quest for the Heisman Trophy, where he stands on the odds, what he needs to do, other contenders. One of the conversations that is starting to gain steam as well is the draft. And I do understand that we are a long ways away from the draft. It is November. You basically got 5 months until the NFL draft. But one of the things that was a bit perplexing as we looked through preseason mock drafts was that Jayden Daniels was widely considered a day 2 at best pick, somewhere in round 2 or 3 at best. Kind of where he was graded. And with the way that Jayden Daniels has progressed this year, not just with the accuracy on the deep ball, his ability to read defenses, etc., that was going to be interesting to see as we start to get into some projections. And that's what tends to happen around this time of the year because which you're going to have happen is guys are going to start opting out of the remainder of the season. I'm not suggesting that Jayden Daniels is going to opt out of the season. Don't misunderstand me. But teams that aren't playing for anything of significance, you're going to start to see players choose to forego the remainder of the year, forego their bowl game. And so the draft class is going to start to come into focus a little bit. And so you're going to start to see more and more mock drafts and draft conversation throughout the rest of November, certainly once you get into December when the regular season ends here in a couple of weeks. But also, I find it fascinating about this quarterback class because this has widely been regarded one of the deeper, stronger quarterback classes in recent memory for the NFL draft. And Jayden is a big part of that because he is this sort of wild card that has skyrocketed up boards where there's this general consensus, Caleb Williams, Drake May, whatever, are 1-2. And then it's all the clump of all the players we've talked about, from Bo Nix and Michael Penix to Michael Pratt, Shadur Sanders, and Quinn Ewers, Jayden Daniels. You get it. Well, as we talked about earlier, this week there's a report that Quinn Ewers is expected to go back to Texas. And last week, Dion was on the Dan Patrick Show and said Shadur is going back to Colorado. So that would clear the deck a bit, taking 2 potential first-round picks off the board, which only clears the path further for a skyrocketing Jayden Daniels. And what I saw today illustrates that very clearly. Luke Easterling is a draft analyst for Athlon and also a contributor at Sports Illustrated, and he put up a midseason NFL mock draft. And not only does he have Jayden Daniels in round 1, he has Jayden Daniels going 11th overall. 11th overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, that would be gag-worthy if he ends up in Tampa. Yes, we do not want to see him in the NFC South, of course. But the 11th overall pick. The write-up is, this offseason will be full of big decisions for the Buccaneers, but none bigger than what to do long-term at quarterback. If they're not fully committed to Baker Mayfield with a new contract, they could opt to dip into a deep quarterback class for a younger, cheaper alternative. There are multiple options worthy of consideration here, but Daniels has been the most electric player in college football this year, and his development screams potential superstar at the next level. How about that? If you're wondering, he does project Drake May 1 and Caleb Williams 2. In all, got 6 first-round quarterbacks. The one that stunned me, and I think Saints fans would be A-okay with this one, he does have the Falcons taking a quarterback at 9, 2 spots ahead of where he projects Jayden Daniels to go to Tampa Bay. But the quarterback he's projecting at 9 is J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan, and this one just continues to floor me. I don't get it. And I understand there's a lot of smart people, when they go through their draft evaluations, they look at things that you and I may not look at. But I've watched Michigan this year, and J.J. McCarthy is a functional player in that offense that is playing a a garbage schedule and is a run-heavy, lean-on-you type offense. I just don't get it. Maybe J.J. McCarthy is the next Tom Brady. Maybe he's a Tom Brady, Joe Montana love child clone. I don't get it. But he's one of those guys that a lot of people think a lot of. So anyway, McCarthy at 9, and then Daniels at 11. So 4 quarterbacks in the top 11 picks. He also has Bo Nix coming off the board in round 1, number 16 to the Raiders. And then he's got Michael Penix Jr. coming off the board, 21 to the Minnesota Vikings. So 6 quarterbacks in round 1, which feels more appropriate given the talent in this draft class. But what a massive leap that would be for Jayden Daniels. If you're talking from a potential day 2 pick to the 11th overall pick, Muse, how much did the 11th overall pick sign for it last year?
Because yes, that was Peter Skronsky, $19.67 million.
Bro, what was the guarantee at signing?
11.3.
So that's $11.3 million to sign, $19 million on the deal. I don't know if they have the slots yet for the 2024 draft. I don't know if you could find that. But think about like how life-changing that is. If you're a third-round pick, you're talking about roughly about a $3 million deal. It's about what you're going to be staring at over the life of your contract. Depending on where you are, that could fluctuate a bit, but you're talking about signing your name on a piece of paper and pocketing $11 million. Now you got taxes and you got agent fees and all that stuff, but you've changed your life. I mean, Jayden Daniels' decision to come back to school has already proven to be life-altering. So congrats to him, man. And it was also interesting because before the start of this season, when we were looking at mock drafts, and again, this is just one man's opinion. It's just one man's opinion, but it does illustrate some thought about where Jayden Daniels is, and wherever he may fall in round 1 is irrelevant. But if you're talking about going from a potential day 2 pick to being projected here 11th overall, it's a stunning leap. Before the season started, when we looked at mock drafts, there was really only one player, sometimes 2, but one that was pretty consistently in everybody's first round, and that was Mason Smith. He's obviously not in this first round mock draft. Malik Neighbors popped up in a lot of them preseason, and you would expect he'd stay there, and he is. They're projecting SI here. Luke Easterling's projecting Malik Neighbors number 22 overall to the Dallas Cowboys. But by the way, they have Neighbors at 22 to Dallas is the 4th receiver taken. But the really good news is Brian Thomas Jr. has clearly caught a lot of people's eyes. And he is projected also as a first-round pick with the last pick of round 1, number 32 overall, to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's funny, though, that the write-up, they have the team name and then their team needs. But the team needs, he writes, is anything but another Georgia Bulldog, which I can appreciate his levity. But if you remember, I mean, Philadelphia, back in the 2020 draft, passed on Justin Jefferson and took a receiver. Jets, of course, went to Minnesota. In this instance, if this happens, Philly would be taking the number 2 wide receiver from another record-setting LSU offense. See if they don't repeat the same mistake. But, man, those 3 players, Jayden, Malik, Brian Thomas, have been awesome this year. And if it plays out that way in the draft, that all 3 end up being first-round picks, they would certainly be rewarded for their great efforts this year. It's great to see Jayden skyrocketing upwards. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.